It is not so bright in here today. It's too bright. It's not so bright in here today.
I mean, true. This camera never show it bright as other things.
Yeah.
Never.
It's clear, it's just not bright.
That got a balance, like a light balance.
You got to focus it.
All right, for the court of Yahuwah is now in session. Can y'all hear me? All minds clear? This is Devarim chapter 6 and verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah or Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Echad.
Yahuwah Echad.
This is Exodus or Shemot chapter 20, beginning at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones.
We will have no other mighty ones.
Against the Most High.
Against the Most
We
High.
will not make any carved image.
We will not make any carved image.
Or any likeness.
Or any likeness.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to them.
We will not bow down to them.
Nor serve them.
Nor serve
For
them.
Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
is a jealous
is
spirit.
a jealous spirit.
Visiting the wicked.
Visiting the
The
wickedness
fathers on the children.
of the fathers of the
To
children.
the third and fourth generation.
To the third and fourth generation.
Of those that hate him.
Of those that hate him.
Showing kindness.
Showing
To
kindness.
thousands of those
To thousands of
who
those
love him.
who love him.
And keep his commandments.
And keep his commandments.
We will not bring the name
We will not bring the
of
name
Yahuwah
of Yahuwah
to nothing.
to nothing.
For Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
will not leave us unpunished.
will not leave us
Who
unpunished.
brings his name to nothing.
Who brings his name to nothing.
We will remember the Shabbat day.
We will remember the Shabbat day.
And keep it Kodesh.
To keep it Kodesh.
6 days we will labor.
6 days we will labor.
And do all our work.
Do all our work.
The seventh day
But the seventh day
is the Shabbat.
is the Shabbat.
Yahuwah
Yahuwah
on 6 days.
We're in 6 days.
Yahuwah made Shamayim.
Yahuwah made Shamayim.
And the earth.
And the earth.
And the sea.
And the sea.
And all that is in it.
And all that is in it.
And the rest of the seventh day.
And the rest of the seventh day.
Therefore Yahuwah Barak the Shabbat day.
Therefore, Yahuwah Barak the Shabbat day.
We will respect our fathers
We will respect our fathers
and our mothers.
and our
So
mothers.
that our days are long
So that our days are long
upon the earth.
upon the earth.
We will not murder.
We will not murder.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not steal.
We will not steal.
We will not bear false witness
We will not bear false witness
against our neighbor.
against our neighbor.
We will not covet
We will not covet
anything
anything
that is our neighbor.
that is our neighbor's.
Father, Yah, we give thanks for this day, for allowing us to gather together for your name's sake, Father, to be obedient unto your word, Father, to be diligent, Father, unto your word. Father, we pray and ask that you allow your Ruach, Father, to rest with us on this Sabbath day, Father. Allow your Ruach, Father, to proceed forth and give understanding unto the hearer and utterance unto the speaker, so that we all may be doers of your word. Allow your word to proceed without hindrance and without obstacle, Father. Father, we pray that any soul that is in transit, Father, you allow them to make it here safely, Father. And we pray that we would all just take this time and this day to uplift your name, Father, and that we would come together, Father, in unison, Father, on one accord, Father, understanding that you are the reason for all things, Father, and all things are done through you and by you. And all these things we pray and we give thanks. Hashem Yehovah V'Kaya Hoshor HaMashiach Ruach HaKodesh. So be it.
So be it.
Hallelujah.
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 Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah.
Be.
We're going to change it up just a bit. And this happens from time to time. We're going to do a new song, so let it rise. But before we sing that, as we was praying, and as I was thinking, Most High said, glorify my name again. Just glorify me. Glorify my name. Glorify my name. So we're going to sing glorify my name first. Then we go to let it rise. Sister Sarah, come on, come on.
Come on up. Yeshua the man.
But I was down here earlier around 8:30 setting up, and I had praise and worship by myself. And man, I was going there. He was giving me ideas. I was so excited. I called my wife. I just had some praise and worship in that building. So if we go the same way, and I got a track, and we're gonna have some fun today in this praise and worship. It's just I believe what he made on. All right.
We bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today.
Yeah.
We bow down, worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today.
Glorify. Come on, sing it from your heart.
We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. We glorify
Every day of the week we glorify. Brother Martin, take the lead. Brother Martin. Well, y'all. Yeah. Here we go. We bow down and worship you. Yeah. We come to praise your holy name. We give our love and praise today. Yeah. Today. We bow down and worship you. Yeah. Oh. We come to praise your holy name. We give our praise today. Now glorify his name. Hallelujah, y'all. Y'all, we thank you for another day. We thank you for another Shabbat. We thank you for the truth. We thank you for the truth. We thank you for the truth. Glorify. When I tell you, if you doubt this, I'm letting you know today, don't doubt it. Wife and I had to go pay our respects to someone in the past that was close to us, and so many people in the church, my home church where I come from. Johnny, we've been watching you. Man, you telling the truth. There's something about it. They trying to be unlearned from all these years and years of stuff that we've been taught. And I love them, and they love it on me, and they want the truth. So what I'm saying to the children of Israel, to the chosen seed, we got more than what they can see. I'm going somewhere. All I'm doing is setting up something. I told you I was down here earlier by myself. So I'm setting up somewhere where we're going today before we get this word. But we got it. We got more than what? We learned a new song this week, Let It Rise. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. New song, most of you may have heard it. It's easy to catch. Let's rock it out. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the praises of our King rise among us. Let it rise. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the praises of our King rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Come on, Larry, I can't feel you. Turn me up. Come on, let it rise. Let it rise. That's it. Everybody, let the glory of Yah, let the glory of Yah rise. Let the glory rise among us. Let the praise of God King rise among us. Let it rise. Come on, say it one more time. Let the glory of Yah, let it rise among us. Let the glory of Yah rise. In the praises of God, rise, rise among us. Hey, ho! Let it rise, let it rise. Come on, say, ho! Let it rise. Y'all got it? Come on. Let the glory of our Yah. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Glory of our Yah rise among us. Rise among us. Come on down. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the glory of our Yah rise among us. Let the praises of our King rise among us. Say, ho! Let it rise, let Let the glory of our Yah. Do y'all understand those words? Let his glory shine upon your life so bright. Rise upon me. Let it rise. Let the glory of Yah. Like I was saying a little earlier, I was meditating and worshiping in my house, in the car, here. It's just a part of me. It's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the teacher like the ox. You know, I know my part. I'm talking out Travis. He's like, man, you just know your part in the body. This is it. I ain't trying to be the husband. I definitely ain't no cook. So the electronics and stuff is what I do. But I have a situation that I've never spoken on. And I was actually, started doubting. Are you here with me? Because sometimes, you go through this walk and you feel like, man, I got a situation I was sharing with some of the ops here in Florida. I haven't seen my children that I have in 4 years. And when I say it's hard every day. It's hard every day. My wife gets the blunt of it, kind of indirect. And I cry, in the car because naturally I miss my sons and my daughter. And it's because of a situation when you're dealing with bitterness, when you're dealing with anger, it is what it is. And so I began to just talk to the Most High. Like, am I ever going to feel better? Am I ever, do you love me? I fly out, do you love me? Do you care about this thing? And I heard a track, and I sampled the track. And I wanted to play the track a little bit because it got good to me in my home. And it's just a loop. And these are the words that I got. And it's like, as I was listening to it, it was like, and I want y'all to say it like, more than you ever know. You love me more than you ever know. And my love more than you ever know. Oh, more than you ever know. Y'all can say that part. More than you ever know. Come on, baby. More than you ever. More than you ever know. I got work up there. Tell see my children again. More than you ever. More than you ever know. Everything that is love. Down and show you more, yeah. You love you more, yeah. When you feel all alone, he's there more. He's there for you more. Yeah. He loves me. He loves me more. And I'm thinking to say, hey, look at us sometimes like we strange, like we just from another country, another world. Here we are. And I took my wild words from that one track and I started using it on this track. I'm started saying, more than the eye to see. We got more than the eye to see. More than the eye to see. More than the and you see your brother and your sister living right next to you. We know that we got in touch in sometimes because God Almighty is reaching out and touching me. Oh, He's blowing the eyes. Deacon Martin, y'all. Deacon Martin just took us somewhere else. More than the eyes can see. Me and Travis was talking. He gave me the green light on something, and we kind of created something doing the unleavened bread. And I was playing with the machines again. And so I want all the brothers to do this. Saying, Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Come on, we gotta get the beat now. Say it. Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Say it with me. And Yahuwah. Come on, man.
Same time now.
Yahuwah.
There you go. Peace, God.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah. Woo! Gotta have a look for it.
Yahuwah.
Come on, y'all. Let's say you now. Come on.
Yahuwah.
Here we go.
Hey.
I got something for y'all. Come on, y'all. Right now. Yahuwah. Yahuwah.
Yahuwah. Yahuwah.
Okay, I got some for the ladies. Go, y'all, yeah.
Yahuwah.
We're going to have a fun.
Yahuwah. 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 Yahuwah.
Ladies, ladies. Israelite.
Yahuwah.
Ladies, Israelite.
Yahuwah.
Israelite. Hey,
Yahuwah.
come on, sister. Israelite. Israelite. Israelite.
Yahuwah.
Where my kids at? I need the kids. Israelite.
Yahuwah.
I want the kids to say this. Hebrew. Israelite.
Yahuwah.
Kids say Hebrew. Hebrew.
Yahuwah.
Hebrew. Israelite.
Yahuwah.
Come on.
Yahuwah.
Where the rappers at?
Yahuwah.
Come on, you out. Get up, you out. Praise.
Yahuwah.
Praise His holy name. Come on. Y'all gonna say, praise
Yahuwah.
in the night.
Yahuwah.
Come on, ladies. Hebrew in the night.
Yahuwah.
Y'all hear it. Hebrew in the night. Come on. Hebrew in the night. What are we? We in the night.
Yahuwah.
Y'all ain't got it. We don't look like y'all ain't got it.
Yahuwah.
What are we? Huh? We in the night.
Yahuwah. Yahuwah.
That's what we are. What we ain't got.
Yahuwah.
Come on, be what?
Yahuwah.
Come on, everybody. What are we?
Yahuwah. 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 Yahuwah.
Y'all had enough.
Yahuwah.
Rock y'all with me.
Yahuwah. Yahuwah.
Oh, yeah.
Yahuwah.
I need everybody like this with me. Come on.
Yahuwah.
Oh, bring it.
Yahuwah. 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 Yahuwah.
Oh, yeah. One more time. Hey.
Yahuwah.
We don't read this song.
Yahuwah.
Everybody use this song. This is your song now.
Yahuwah.
Yeah. If you ain't rapping right now, I don't know what's wrong with you. If your body ain't moving, I don't know what's wrong with you. All right, listen to this. Y'all know what I was saying before. This Israelite thing, this truth movement, is much more than they can see. It's much more than hollering and screaming and cussing at people on the street. We feeling it. It's much more than they can see. Go ahead, tell them what it is, Juan.
What we have is much more than this.
We're gonna be funny things like this. That's like this. Yo, sing with me, you know to do it with this. Yo. I'm gonna come live to us, Christian live to us, read the Bible, the history is live to us, nobody died for us, nobody died for us, that's the saints, all of them died for us and land. Don't you really about the people of the Bible, this is no doubt to be born live. I am living truth of gospel, now my people hate the truth, false religion, false idols, false idols, this is true music, I elementary battlefield is yours. Get close to the seat of the word. Gonna be well, gonna be well, and get down deep. Because we go after the truth. Get the light over heat. Of the rivers we from the big cities plus the big hearts. What a feeling, y'all! We the Israelites! What a feeling! The rock country! 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 Oh, we have it. Rock country! The rock country! The rock country! Well, we have the first one that you see. One people, one God, one nation, one people in the yard. Oh, well, we have this much more than they can see. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so what I'm feeling, y'all, we the Israelites. What I'm feeling, y'all, we the Israelites. What I'm feeling, y'all, we the Israelites. What I'm feeling, y'all, we the Israelites.
What we have is much more than this.
Take them to church. Take them to church, y'all.
What we have is much more than this. What we have is much more than this. They don't understand, they don't understand, they don't understand, they don't understand. We have it. They don't understand, they don't understand, they don't understand, they don't understand, they don't
souls are free. It's a beautiful thing, man. What we have is but joy. Hallelujah. Was the praise and worship worth it this morning? Was it worth it to you? What we have is much more. They can see, but they notice it. They notice in us. Our church say we have fun in these streets. We run these streets. That's right. Hey. How many ready for the word? Tell me.
Praise y'all, man. Praise y'all. I need a half hour to cool up. Y'all using this? Yeah, some pastor. You gonna use one of those? So the pastor.
Test. Test. Thought they had me this week.
That boy don't want to be the pastor.
Oh, we thought he had me. Yeah, I thought he was ready to go home after that.
Wait till next week.
Wait till everybody gets situated. I ain't breaking no sweat.
Everybody
I ain't breaking no sweat.
Everybody need to pass that.
I ain't breaking no sweat.
Me, it's the normal brownie. It's no downy or however you see it.
Let me go. 1 second. Shabbat shalom. How's everybody doing? I guess we can handle that while I'm searching through hookup. We got any first time visitors? Anybody here for the first time? Anybody besides his brother out front?
Yeah, you got a couple of them back there.
They're back there hiding.
Make thyself seen.
Well, if you're here for the first time and you don't want to stand up and introduce yourself, that's fine. I can't see nobody. But anyhow, we just want to properly greet y'all and make y'all feel welcome. That's the only reason we do this for is to make sure everybody feel welcome, feel at home, let you know that you are welcome. We're here every Sabbath and then some other days as well. But we're here and y'all welcome to come through. We're gonna have a light lesson.
No salad, man.
Have a light lesson, you know. And then once we finish, open the floor up for questions and answers. So if you do have any questions, just kind of throw a finger up if it's something real quick and simple that it can be addressed. If it's something a little more in depth, then just jot it down for me, hold it to the end, and we'll make sure it gets answered. Is that acceptable? Y'all with me this morning? Okay, I'm just making sure. Y'all know. Okay, so
Sleepy?
I'm with.
Afternoon?
Is it? I think it's morning. Yeah, I feel like morning. No, technically, it's morning. Afternoon in the scripture. Morning, day, night. Okay.
What about that book, that one in Leviticus?
What is that? Afternoon? That one ain't read out. It's 30.
Mike is kind of funny. Stop telling us.
All right, so yeah, everybody turn your ringers off. Let's see if Yeah, everybody turn your rings off. So we got a little something for you today. Let's Let's bring up the choir for A and B selection. Let's start off in John chapter 5. Good news according to John in the 5th chapter. We start off at the very first voice. John chapter 1 and verse 5.
Can you give me the Hebrew too?
Yochanan. We're using that the hallelujah. You want one of these KJVs?
There you go.
The New Testament is in the same place in that book. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
You should see it. It should say it on like the left or the right side. The actual name.
Yeah, no, this is the good news according to John.
I John.
I John. Or I John. Or I John. So we start off at John chapter 5 and verse 1. So I just want to make sure that y'all was with me today, that y'all was attentive. Everybody got their thinking caps on and ready, because I usually ask questions and need a little bit of response, a little interaction, just to make sure that we all on the same page. I don't want to leave nobody behind. Make sure we all understanding, right? Thought not getting, get what?
Understanding.
There you go. Y'all sharp. All right. So John chapter 5 verse 1.
John chapter 5, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the removing of water.
Okay, so when they say impotent folk, what does that mean? Sick. Handicapped, sick, all these infirmities, injured, right? Go ahead.
For Malachim went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole.
Was made what?
Made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years.
How long?
38 years.
So this man who was there laying next to the pool at Bethesda, right, was looking to get healed. Yeah? Because whoever was placed in the water after the Malachim came down and troubled the water, stirred the water, was healed. So apparently this man was laying there looking to be healed, and he had been suffering from an infirmity for 38 years, right? Go ahead.
Verse 6, when Yahushua saw him lie, and he knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, wilt thou be made whole?
So when the Messiah asked him, wilt thou be made whole, what is he asking him? Do you want to be healed? So any of us, what would be your response? You've been suffering, right, for 38 years. Now, I'm not much more than 38 years old, but that's a suffering, but that's a lifetime for a lot of people. They've been suffering. And the Messiah asked him directly, will you be made whole? Now, why did he ask him that?
Because he was sitting there in the water. He was right next to the pool. He was in trouble. He didn't jump in yet.
But the question is, if he was sitting there, why ask the question?
He ain't jumped in yet.
Would it have not been obvious? No?
Maybe need a little help, get pushed in.
Yeah, well, that was what he said. We're going to read that. But let me ask you this. So when he asked him, like, so it's no different than any of us. I like to make this thing relatable, right, to everybody. So if you are suffering, regardless of what it is, like how they say misery loves company, that type of thing. And people who are negative, they enjoy being around other people who are negative. They feed off negative energy. Negative people feed off negative energy. So if you first want to be, because nobody wants that, you wouldn't think. But first, in order to come out of that, you have to admit that you want to be free from that type of thing. You understand what I'm saying? So even though he had been suffering for all this time, he still asked him, will thou be made whole? Do you want to be healed? You've been sitting here for a long time. He said it said in verse 5. What is that? No, I'm sorry, in verse 6. It says that when the Messiah saw him, he knew that he had been now a long time in that case. So he asked him, do you want to be healed? That's first and foremost, right? All right. So do we understand like what self-hatred? We understand self-hatred, self-loathing. Do you understand what these terms mean, or what they are, what it is, what is about? Yes, no? Yeah. All right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 1. Because believe it or not, it's some people who are in fact suffering, but they do not want to be healed. They don't want to be made whole. They're content with just being in that state because, for one, it's something that they're used to. It's something that they're comfortable with. And people, believe it or not, which I'm sure, I mean, we are people in here, but people do not like change. That's just the honest truth. People don't like change. So the industry that I work in, right, has been dominated for years and years and years and years since its inception by older white men, right? There's very few women. There's very few brothers. Like the company I work for is a worldwide company, and it's two of me, like two brothers that work in the same position, counting myself across the whole United States. Two. Yeah, he cool. We got the same name. But he cool. But and so so I deal with customers, and when you walk into a shop, you deal with, so you got brothers who look at you as if you think you better than them before you even say a word. They automatically look at you like, oh, he think he better than us. And you have the others that look at you like, he ain't as good as me. What is he doing there? And it's like it's a complete catch-22. Like you can't win until you begin to speak to these people. But I say that that this industry has been dominated by these men. And when we come in there and we try to show them different nuances about newer equipment, they absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it. They absolutely hate it. Okay. Force of habit. So, so I remember I went to DTE, right? They bought a machine. This machine probably cost almost $500,000, and it just sat there for a year. They just like nobody wanted to touch it because DTE is filled with a bunch of old timers. I'm talking about guys who are ready to retire. Nobody wanted to touch this machine. So I went there and I trained these guys, and they were so uninterested in what I was telling them, like had absolutely no interest in touching this machine whatsoever. And so I just asked them, like, look, like, what are we doing? Like, because we can just stand here and just shoot the breeze. I'm getting paid. I'm going to be here anyway. If y'all don't want to learn the machine, we can just kind of stand here and just talk. The guy told me, I'm going to tell you the truth. When you leave, I'll never be over here again. They just don't like change, period. And so when you got this man who's been laying there for who knows how long, he's been suffering from this infirmity, who knows how long it took him to get there, right? And he's been suffering for 38 years. So the first thing you have to ask a person is, are you ready for change, right? Do you want to be healed? So that's why the Messiah asked him, and we're going to see his response. But let's start at Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 1. I said in mine heart, go to now. I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. And behold, this also is vanity.
So this whole thing actually starts in Ecclesiastes 1, right? But I just started verse 2. I don't want to be too long-winded. You know how much these lessons can get long. So
yeah.
So he said, I said in my heart, go to now, and I will prove thee or test his own heart with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure, right? Go ahead.
And behold, this also is vanity. I said of laughter, it is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that was good for the sons of men, which they should do under the Shamaim all the days of their life.
So it's basically like he was searching for trying to give his life meaning or purpose. Yeah. Go ahead.
I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruit. I made me pools of water to water therewith the woods that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. I also had great possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasures of the kings of the provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, and the delight of the sons of men as musical instruments, and all sorts.
So he said he planted vineyards, and he had servants, and he had cattle, and it was clear that this man had wealth, right? He had gold, and he even so much so that he had singers for entertainment. Go ahead.
So I also was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatsoever mine eyes desired I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion, all of my labor.
And I worked hard, and anything that my eyes saw that it desired, I gave it to him, right? Go ahead.
Then I looked on all the works that were of my hands and wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation.
And all this work that I did was empty. It was vanity and vexation, right? You know what it means to be vexed? You know what vexation means, right? Go ahead.
All was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which hath been already done. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as the light excelleth darkness.
So he did recognize that wisdom excels folly as much as light excels darkness. Go ahead.
The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness.
So if the wise man's eyes are in his head and the fool walks in darkness, where's his eyes? Not in his head, right? Means he's what? Go ahead.
And I myself perceived also that one even happeneth to them all. Then said I in mine heart, as it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me.
So even though I'm wise, but he says one thing that happened to the fool and to the wise, right? What's that one thing? Go ahead.
And why was I then more wise? Then said I in my heart that this also is vanity.
So what is the point of this wisdom that I have? If it's one end for the wise and the foolish, he's saying to himself, what's the point of this wisdom? It's emptiness, right? Go ahead.
Verse 16, for there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever, seeing that which now is in the days to come shall all be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man as the fool?
How dies the wise man as a fool? Saying that basically the end is the same. Go ahead.
Therefore I hated life.
Read it again.
Therefore I hated life.
And because he had done all this mulling, like all the work that he had did to produce all the possessions that he had, all the riches, all the wealth, that still felt some form of emptiness, right? To the point where he said, read that verse again.
Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all is vanity and vexation of ruach. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have shewed myself wise under the sun. This also is vanity.
That's good. Start right there. So he's basically saying that what was the point, right, in all of my labor? So, but this is self-hatred. He hated all the work that he had did, everything that he had produced, all the work that he had put in to build all of this stuff, or the wisdom that he had. He counted as folly, because basically said that the end was the same. So what was the point? He hated himself. There was nothing to him. There was nothing there. So what? But this man sounded like he had everything. So if I came to you, if someone came to you and said, I give you everything, everything that your eyes see you can have, everything that your heart wants you can have, how would you feel?
What's the catch?
No catch. You can have it. Everything that your eyes see is available for you. You can have it. Everything that your heart desires, you can have it. How would you feel? Initially, how would you feel? Like, yes, right? I literally hit the lottery. Everything that I ever wanted, I got. So we striving in this life, right? But what we striving for? What are we striving for? This is a real question to ask yourself. What are you striving for? Because every day we go to work, right? We go to work to earn a paycheck. Once we get a paycheck, we use the money to do what? Pay bills and buy possessions. What's the point? This is what I'm asking. What are you doing it for? Are you being fulfilled is the question. Because all of these things that he had, but he still was not fulfilled. It wasn't enough to fulfill another desire that was inside of him that could not be filled with possessions or riches or women or music or anything, right? Let's go back to 1 John. I'm sorry. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2 and verse 16.
That's good, brother. That's good.
1 John 2.
1 John 2, yeah.
Verse
16. 1 John 2 and 16.
1 John chapter 2, verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Elohim abideth forever.
So the things, all the things that he had, like I said, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the things that his heart and his eyes desired, he had. But it's counted as vanity according to this. It says not of the Father, but it's of the world, and it passed away, right? So this stuff that you have is just temporary. The things that we do every single day, like literally every single day, you get out the bed in the morning and you work your whole day for things that are going to pass away. That's that at the end of the day, what is it? Completely temporary, right? Just put that in perspective. We do this every single day. And we spend at least 8 hours out of our day, for the most of us, working to gain nothing. Right? How much of your day do you spend working to gain those things that's going to buy forever? Is it equal? Is it close? Proverbs 15.
Say lie.
Verse 32.
Proverbs 15, verse 32. He that refuseth instructions.
He that refused instruction. What's instruction? Right? The instruction that is being spoken of, right? Righteous instruction is really the way, right? The Torah, the instruction, the law, right? He that refuses instruction does what?
Despise his own soul.
Hates his own self. If you refuse instruction, because the instruction is to do what? What is the Torah? It's the way, but what does it bring you? Life, right? The Torah, the Messiah, who's the walking Torah, said he came to bring life, right? More abundantly, exactly. And if you refuse instruction, you basically, like it's saying, you despise your own soul, and you must hate yourself, because I'm giving you the instruction that's going to bring you life, and you refuse it. So what do that mean? How do that tell you feel about your own life?
Sitting at the water.
Right? Proverbs 29:33. 29, I'm sorry. Finish that out. I'm sorry.
Verse 32, he that refuseth instructions despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding.
He that hears reproof. Reproof is what? Correction. Correction. Only a fool despise what? Only a fool, right? Despises correction. Anybody who can't be corrected, it's a problem. If you can't take correction, because it's a hard pill to swallow when you're doing something and somebody points out a flaw in it, and it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's difficult to receive correction. But what did it just say in this? It says, but he that hears reproof gets understanding, right? When you shut your ears off from being instructed or corrected or reproved, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to be able to take correction. You have to be able to, let's finish that, verse 33.
Verse 33, the fear of Yahuwah is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility.
Before honor, yeah, that's what the fear means, reverence. Reverence. But the fear of Yahuwah, or the reverence of Yahuwah, is the instruction of wisdom. And before honor is what?
Humility.
So before you can be honored, you have to be humble. All right? Proverbs 29:23.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 23. A man's pride shall bring him low.
Now we are all familiar with the pride lesson, right? That pride lesson came through and chin checked each and every one of us, right? So it says that a man's pride shall bring him low. Now that low, we can often equate lowliness with humility, right? But this is not talking about that low, right? Pride comes before the fall, right? Destruction. That's the low it's talking about. Go ahead.
A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit.
But honor shall uphold or uplift the humble that's in spirit. So like it says, before honor, there must be humility, right? Always. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. We're going to go to chapter 3. Yeah, sure. Chapter 3, verse 13. As this like I said, this whole narrative, it carries on all the way from chapter 1. Even when we get into there's a time for everything, a time to be born, a time to die. This is all a part of that whole thing. So we're gonna jump down to chapter 3, verse 13. Because this is the same person who was saying that all these things in life are counted as vanity. And what we just read in John is that the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, right? The things that pass away are not of the Most High. But we need to seek after those things that are of the Most High, because those things abide how long? Forever. All right, verse 13.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 13. Moreover, every person should eat, drink, and enjoy the benefits of everything that he undertakes, since it is a gift from Elohim. I have concluded that everything that Elohim undertakes will last for eternity. Nothing can be added to it, nor taken away from it. And that Elohim acts this way so that people will fear him.
So it says that I know that whatsoever Yah does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken away from it, and he does it so that men shall fear before him or reverence him.
My bad, I flipped it. That's the mellow version. No,
That boy got his own
it's the
translation.
ISB.
That boy got his own translation out here. His own.
Verse 13 from the KJV. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the goods of all his labor. It is the gift of Elohim.
So all the labor that he had put in, right, to gain all the things that he had, it says that it is a gift of the Most High, right? But gift when you're dealing in wisdom and righteousness and those type of things, all the things that you have, the possessions that you have, the things that you obtain, right, is a gift from the Most High. Go ahead. This is what he deduced after going through so many different scenarios. I say it's definitely something worth reading. Check it out if you haven't read it. Verse 14.
Verse 14. I know that whatsoever Elohim doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And Elohim doeth it, that men should fear before him.
And Yah does it so that men can fear before him, right? So let's grab Galatians chapter 6 and verse 8. So when you read through that whole thing, you will see where I think it's Solomon. I don't think it's confirmed that it's Solomon, but it's not denied either. But I believe that that's Solomon that's there. But he's going over a whole bunch of different things in his head. He's saying he tried his own heart with this, and then he realized there's a time and a place for this. And all the things that he attained, and he counted as vanity, he understood that these things were a gift of the Most High. But understanding that those things come and are used as a gift if they are put in their proper place. Now, it's not I'm not saying all that to say the possessions that you have are worthless and throw them away. What I'm saying is that they have their place, not to supersede the things that the Most High needs from you, right? So that's why I threw that whole scenario out there to put it in perspective, that we working every single day towards things that are just temporary. So what type of work are we putting towards those things that are eternal, right? If I can get up and work 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, but I don't pick up my scriptures 1 day a week, like I don't allot no time to the Most High, my prayer life is almost obsolete. What work are we putting toward those things that are eternal? You got to put those things into perspective and set your priorities based around what's most important to you. And the reason why I believe that it's easier for us to get up and go to work and put in, sweat and tears and all this stuff is because it's something that you can touch. It's something that you can see. It's something that you can feel. It's something that you can drive. It's something, you know what I mean? But that's all to the flesh, right? Who all in here believe in the scriptures? Everybody, yeah? Most of y'all? Some of y'all? Believe for real. All right. Let's grab what I say, Galatians chapter 6, verse 8.
Galatians chapter 6, verse 8. One moment. Galatians chapter 6, verse 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption.
Read that again.
For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption.
So every day we've been sowing what? To the flesh. Every day. Right? And what do it say that we reap? Go ahead.
But he that soweth to the Ruach shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting.
Reap what?
Life everlasting.
So what would you rather have? If I got corruption in this hand and life everlasting in this hand, which one you gonna pick? Which one you been picking?
corruption.
Verse 9.
Verse 9. And let us not be weary in well doing,
Uh-huh.
for in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
So even if we are sowing those things so that we can reap life everlasting, we can't be weary in the fact that we sowing. We ain't weary in the fact that we working every day. We've been sowing flesh into the what it say, sowing to the flesh for years and years and years. So we no way we can get weary in sowing toward life everlasting. Don't get weary in your well-doing. Don't allow yourself to tire out doing the right things and the good things, understanding that the reward is so much greater than that check you get every week or every other week or twice a month. Right? Verse 10.
Verse 10. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men.
Let's do what?
Good unto all men.
Only Israel?
Unto all men.
Northern kingdom?
All men.
Southern kingdom?
All men.
Only to the brothers that believe the truth.
Everybody but Esau.
Right? Because this question come up all the time. Do I have to be peaceable with everybody? It says peaceable to all men. But aren't that just the people that's in the truth? Ain't that just my neighbor if they my brother? Ain't that just Israel? Read the whole verse in its entirety.
As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
So do you see the distinction? Unto all men, but especially unto those who are in the household of faith. But do good unto all men. Right?
Except so.
Except so. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17.
So you saying that don't got nothing to do with Esau, right?
All men.
Well, they not men.
They not human. They not human.
They got no hue.
Well, I know you. They got a you. They got some you. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of esteem, while we look not at all things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal.
So the things that which are seen, or those things that lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, are just temporary. So it's not, we should not be focusing. So it's not when it's saying, look, it ain't like, oh, I don't see, or like people, I don't see color, right? No, but it's our focus, right? Where should your focus be? Not on those things which are temporal, but
the things which are not seen are eternal.
The things that are not seen are eternal. So our focus, even though it's almost impossible to unsee, right? Like I see something that I like and I want it. That's like human nature, right? Like as a baby, they don't know what this is, but they know that it's shining and it makes noise when I move it. So I want it, right? As a child, you understand that. The first principle that you learn is I want it, regardless of anything, right? The very first thing, I want it. And when you can't have it, even as a child, what do?
Have a fit.
You have a fit. Guess what? It's a whole bunch of children still in adult bodies walking around here. Because when it's something that they can't have, what do? They still have a fit. Right? But when we're supposed to have put away childish things, right? We're supposed to have matured and grown, especially those of the household of faith, to the point that it's something on a natural level that we can't have right now. It's understanding that it's temporary anyway, that our focus shouldn't even be on that. But if we seek you first, right? The kingdom, right? Which means that your focus is on the kingdom, right? What's going to happen after that? What did the scripture say going to happen after that? Everything going to be added. But see, the principle that we dealing with there is this. If I, like, so let's say we're talking about work, right? You working a job, and you feel like you're being paid what you're worth, right? Is anybody that feel like they're satisfied with their wage? Anybody? One person that's actually satisfied with their wage? Y'all in the wrong profession. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't feel like you're satisfied with your wage and you being paid what you worth, if you don't feel like you're being paid what you worth, you need to do something different. But if you're doing, if that means that everybody's in here working a job and not really doing what it is that they enjoy doing, that's got to be it. But when you're doing something that you enjoy doing, right? The amount of money that you get paid, it don't always have to. Like when you work in a job, like they always want more money because you feeling like I'm in here doing this for you. I need to get paid more. But when you're doing something that you enjoy, that's a whole nother lesson for another day. But when you're doing something that you enjoy and that you prefer, then the money is never really a big issue, right? Let me use a different example. Let me use a different example because it don't seem like we can't relate to that one. Let me see. Had everything set up. Y'all just messed up my whole thing.
Let him use you, B. Let him use you.
Well, the point that I was trying to make is satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
When you all right, I got one for you. We got any cooks in the building? Anybody cook? Some real? We get some hands. Okay. So if you cook, right? Do you taste your food while you're cooking? Yeah.
Cookers never hungry.
So when you taste your food while you're cooking, and you get it to the point where you have the perfect blend of the spices, and it's heated to the optimal temperature, and you taste the food, right? And it's good, and you're satisfied with the way it tastes, yeah? Do you put anything else in it? Do you continue cooking it further? It's done, right? Is it done? It's done, yeah? You're satisfied.
Still warm, so it's gonna keep cooking. Look, it's time to eat.
Right, and you eat it while it's hot. I get that. So it's I try to use this as an example when you seek in the kingdom first, right? You seek in the kingdom first, and you're not worried about adding anything else because you're satisfied with what you're getting by seeking after the kingdom. Right, that's the point I was trying to make with the job thing. If you feel like you're getting paid what you're worth, like you're not really tripping if you get a raise this year or not get a raise because I'm doing what I enjoy and my fulfillment is coming with the work rather than the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? So when you seeking the kingdom first, understanding that you're seeking those things that are eternal. And your reward is going to come with eternity. The extras that you get from the world being possessions, they don't really make that much of a difference to you because you're already satisfied with what you're getting from what you're seeking after. You follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So that's the principle that I understand when I read "Seek you first the kingdom." It's the satisfaction that I get from just being in the scriptures and reading the scriptures. I don't have to go out and purchase clothes to get any fulfillment. I don't have to. So all of these things that this person in Ecclesiastes was trying to add to himself, he was looking to be fulfilled. At my heart, I looked at my heart and said, well, I'm going to give you this, and this. Well, why I got to have this, and that? Because whatever it got right now is not fulfilling, right? Same thing. I looked at my eyes and my eyes said, oh, I want that. And I gave it everything that I saw. But at the end of the day, it said it was all counted as vanity because it was not being fulfilled. There was no fulfillment, right? So when you seek in the kingdom, it should be sufficient, right? You should be satisfied with seeking the kingdom, understanding that the reward is far greater than anything that you can ever desire in the first place. Like the stuff that we read about, I don't think we can really fathom what the kingdom is going to be like in our minds. It's going to be probably that plus so much greater. You know what I mean? So What much more than we can see? That's even much more than we can see, right? So understanding being satisfied with what we have, that everything else that happens after the fact is just cool. Like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that happened too. Oh, that's cool. When somebody say they're gonna give you something, oh, thanks, that's cool. I wasn't expecting it, but it's nice to have it. Like I appreciate it, you know. Where was we at?
Second.
All right, let's go. John chapter 5, verse 7. Back to John chapter 5. Yeah, back to. So matter of fact, let's read verse 6 again, and then we go verse 7.
Where we going?
John, back to the very first scripture. John chapter 5, verse 7. Yeah, John chapter 5, verse 7.
Regular John.
Regular John.
John chapter 5, verse 7.
Verse 6, my bad, verse 6.
Verse 6. While Yahusha saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, wilt thou be made whole?
So when he asked him, wilt thou be made whole? Like I just asked y'all, do you want to be healed? What do you think is first? Like just like you just said, first response would be what? Yes, absolutely. Throw me in that pool. You feel me? Yeah, I want to be healed. I've been laying here for X amount of years. I've been sick for 38 years. Yes, I want to be healed. Verse 7.
The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me in to the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me.
So, what was his response?
Not yes.
Not just that.
Yes.
He didn't say yes. He never said yes. His response was an excuse. Do you want to be healed? That would be, yeah. I mean, everybody doing.
They're in front of me. They keep jumping in front of me.
His response was an excuse. When the Most High, matter of fact, let's grab Exodus chapter 4, verse 1.
It's that beta male, yo.
I mean, it's yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Self-loathing, self-pity, self-hate. That you get so comfortable in the lesser you that you don't want to achieve anything greater, and you just happy being lesser than.
Exodus
chapter 4, verse 1. You want to pass the mic?
Exodus chapter 4, verse 1. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, Yahuwah have not appeared unto me.
So when the Most High came and told Moses, I want you to go and speak to the children of Israel and tell them that the Elohim of your fathers have sent you. Did he say, all right, cool? He said, they're not going to believe me.
Hey, Johnny.
Verse 10.
Let me get Mike 3 up.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. And Moses said unto Yahuwah, O my master, I am not eloquent, neither therefore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. And Yahuwah said unto him, Who have made man's mouth?
So once again, Moses had a excuse. And Yah's reply was what? Yep.
And Yahuwah said unto him, Who have made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or the deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I Yahuwah? Now therefore go and I will be with thy mouth.
And I will do what?
I will be with thy mouth.
Now, therefore, go, and I'm going to be with your mouth. The thing that you pointed out as your biggest flaw, you go, and I'm gonna give you that extra. I'm going to give you that what you need to make it sufficient, right? Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4.
Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4. Then the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations.
So he's basically telling him that he was ordained a prophet unto the nations when he right out of the womb, right? Before the womb, yeah? Go ahead.
Then said I, Master Elohim, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child.
So his response was, but I'm just a child. I can't speak. So before he even told him he was a child, that he can't speak, what did the Most High tell him? Already I ordained you, even as a child, before you was a child, before you was a baby, when you was still in the mother's womb, I had already ordained you. You can't use that excuse. Go ahead.
Verse 7. But Yahuwah said unto me, say not, I am a child, but thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, you shall speak.
I don't want to hear your excuse. Go, right? Go ahead.
Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, saith Yahuwah.
Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you. What did he tell Moses? Same thing, right? Jeremiah, the same thing, right? Judges chapter 6 and verse 11.
Judges chapter 6 verse 11. And there came a Malachim unto Yahuwah, and sat under an oak, which was in Ophrah, that pertaineth unto Joash and Abzarite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the Malachim of Yahuwah appeared unto him, and said unto him, Yahuwah is with you, thou mighty man of valor.
What did he say to him?
Yahuwah is with you, thou mighty man of valor.
Uh-huh.
And Gideon said unto him, O my master, if Yahuwah be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles, which our fathers told us of, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahuwah have forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites.
So what was this when the Malach came and told him that you was the Most High is with you, right? And Gideon's response was, well, if Yah is with me, then why is this like that? Where's all the great miracles? What was this? What is this at the bare? I mean, doubt. It is doubt.
No faith.
What I see is a complaint. It's a complaint. Yah is with us, but what about this? What about that? What how come? What happened to all these great miracles that happened when we came out of Egypt? It seemed like he had a complaint, right? Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And Gideon said unto him, O my master, if Yahuwah be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahuwah hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites.
Why is it this way? Why did this happen to us? What is that? Pity? Self-pity? Go ahead.
And Yahuwah looked upon him and said, go into this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent you? And he said unto him, O my master, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And Yahuwah said unto him, surely I will be with you.
Said what?
Surely I will be with you.
Sound familiar? Go ahead.
And thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. And he saith unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then shew me a sign that thou talkest with me.
So once again, right? Once again, it's doubt, but that's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was, for one, he had a complaint. Like, yo, if Yah is with us, then why is we like this? Why is our young brothers getting killed in the street? Why do we still not own anything in our neighborhoods? Why are we still the least in our communities? Why is everybody still coming to our communities and making a spoil of us? Right? Same complaints that the same things that we today as Israel be staying out in the corners, right? If Yah is with us, why are we in this bad position? Right? And Yah's response to Gideon was, go make a difference. Stop complaining and go make a difference. I'm with you. Go make a difference. Because a lot of times we get into the mode where we only want to complain and nobody have a solution. We got to stop that. Like that's one of the worst things that we can do. Period. I don't care if it's as a people, as a family, as a husband, as a wife, as a child. One of the worst things that you can do is be full of complaints and not solutions. We gotta think on a level of solution. How do we make this better? How do we improve that? This is not sufficient enough. It's not the way that I want it to be. It can be better. But if you sit there and just point at it and point out all the flaws, look at that, it's not quite round. Look at that, it's like this. Look at this, it's like that. Look at that, it's like that. That's not good enough. What do that do? What does that help?
Nothing.
But if you say that this instrument is not sufficient, we need to buy a different kind. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go buy it. You don't point the finger at anybody else and task them with doing it. You do it because you see the insufficiency. You see something that needs to be better. You see an area that needs to be improved. So what should you do? Make the improvement yourself.
Forget that.
But that's the truth. As funny as it is, and he said it jokingly, but it's messed up because it's the truth.
Bringing a complaint without a solution.
Exactly. There's no way that you point out a complaint without having thought for the solution, or without or not bringing it forth, saying, "We need to resolve this. I have an idea." That's how problems are solved. Problems ain't solved by pointing them out and saying, "It's a Travis. That's a problem. Do something about it." Who does that help? If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.
Check out Speak on it.
Check out Speak on it, last verse. But seriously though, if you're not a part of the solution and you're part of the problem, like so when I started working for this particular company, right? I had a guy who was real knowledgeable, and he sat across from me in the desk across from me. And I would ask him questions all the time, and he never answered one of them. Never. Not like he ignored me, but he never answered my questions directly. I would say, "Hey, Gary, I got to do such and such and such and such. How do I figure out how to do this, that, and the third?" And he would reach in his desk and grab a book and hand it to me. And I'll ask him the next time, and he would reach in his desk and grab a book and hand it to me. Every question I had for him, he would give me a book and say, "This is how I figured it out. Figure it out." And after a while, I stopped asking him questions.
Let me get that book.
And I would just say, "I grabbed that book out your desk." Because I already know what his answer was going to be. But what that did was it made me better in my profession. So much so to whereas I was at another job and I was trying to problem solve something that I had no idea, no clue about, but I was just trying to problem solve it. And my supervisor told me, just ask one of the guys. And I just wasn't used to it no more. I was used to trying to figure it out on my own. You know what I'm saying? Solution driven, not just pointing out problems. And I think, it's something that I just adapted to over the course of some years, And I think that now it's like second nature, that when something happens, I immediately want to think on the level of how do we fix it, right? And I think that's like men in general. Is that a man trait? Do most men think that way? Do we? I mean, it's like this. It's like a. I don't want to generalize this and say like women are the complainers, but let's just use.
So that's really how.
Let's just use this as an example, right?
Put the torches down.
No. But no, this is good because your wife may come to you with a scenario. It might not necessarily be a complaint, but it's a scenario or a problem or issue that they're dealing with. And our first reaction is to fix it. But they don't want us to fix it. They just want you to listen. But it's in our nature to want to fix it.
Straight up.
But sometimes, is that accurate, sisters?
That's definitely. You
Not
can't
for you?
ask them. You can't ask them.
Well, no. I'm asking the sisters. I want to know. Sometimes sisters want to are highly capable of solving their own problems. They don't need us to solve their problems. They just want somebody to listen, to hear it out. Yeah, support, right? Support. That's not accurate for you. So your husband got to solve all your problems.
Straight up.
But that's exactly what I just said. Like if you bring it out an issue, it's not you're not telling him for him to fix it for you, right? But you're just talking and you want him to listen. Oh, you want him to fix it? Oh, okay, I got you. Otherwise, you don't tell him. Okay, I get it. I understand. So like I said, I guess it's not across the board, but is it? In my experience, I've had to where it's it's exception, but it's just me. Even when my kids come to me, and it's just I always try to give them a way to fix whatever it is that's bothering them. My daughter would come to me and such and such and such and such said this to me in school, and I listen a little bit, but I be like, look, you better tell something, trying to help them resolve their issue, but they ain't even fully told me the issue. So I say all that to just say that I think that it's in the nature of a man to just want to fix problems or fix issues or look at things to where we can be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Is that, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I just feel like that's something that we all have to adopt. Something that we all have to adapt to is that we need to be fixers. We need to be solution driven rather than problem driven. Because when the Most High called each and every one of us, right? As a matter of fact, let's grab Romans chapter 8, verse 28. When the Most High called each and every one of us, right? He didn't call you to be me. He didn't call you to be him. He didn't call you to be him. He didn't call you to be him. He called you to be you, right? He called each and every one of us to be who we are. The scriptures is filled with individuals, even though there's a lot of similarities and patterns to how people were called, as we can see. We just read through 3 of them real quick and easy. But there's a lot of, even dealing with David, with a whole bunch of the people, they was called in a similar fashion, yeah? People who were looked at as insufficient, from even the Messiah, right? He's from Nazareth. Is anything good come out of Nazareth? Right? Even the Messiah himself was looked at as something that would not be sufficient. But the Most High called each and every one of us for a purpose. And if you try to do my purpose, then you negate your purpose, right? So how everybody is called, we have to serve an individual office is the point. Romans chapter 8, verse 28.
Romans 8 and 28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Elohim.
So if you love Elohim, you do what? Keep the commandments, right? We all know that, right? If you love me, you do what?
Keep my commandments.
If you love me, you do what?
Keep my commandments.
Okay. So all things work together for the good to them that love the Most High, right? Not lip service love, true love, obedience. Yeah? Okay, just wanted to establish that. Go ahead.
To them who are called according to his purpose.
To them who are called according to the purpose. So if we know at this point, we all sitting in this room, understand that we law keepers, and we know that the Most High has called us, right, out of the darkness. We had a whole 2 lessons, I think, back to back on this, on having a choice on whether to accept that call. Yeah, go ahead.
For whom he did foreknow, he also predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestine, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also esteemed. What shall we then say to these things? If Elohim be for us, who can be against us?
So the question is, when Moses told the Most High that he wasn't good enough, then the Most High said, I'm going to be what? When Gideon said, but I'm from the smallest family and we so poor. And the Most High said, no, I chose you, go, and I'm going to be what?
With
And then who else was it?
Jeremiah.
When he told him, I'm just a child. And he told him, nah, you're not a child. I ordained you to be a prophet well before you was even born. That you going to go and I'm going to be what? And the Most High just said that we're all called and predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son who was also chosen to give his life, right? We all been lumped in to that one body and we've been called. And the Most High, in Romans, it was stated that if the Most High be for us,
who can be against us?
So he already with you, regardless of the things that you've been purposed for, right? When you go, he with you. There is no, I ain't gonna be good enough. There is no excuse. You follow what I'm saying? All these men, they had excuses as to why they shouldn't go. But if the Most High chose you, he predestined you for a purpose. Why wouldn't you go?
His purpose.
Who else could have led the children of Israel out of Egypt but Moses? Did he not choose Moses for that reason?
Absolutely.
Who else could have did what Gideon did if not Gideon? Did he not choose Gideon because he was Gideon?
Absolutely.
Because he had already purposed him for what he did, his task, right? Matthew chapter, matter of fact, we don't even have to go there because we already discussed it. But that many are called, but few are chosen, right? We had a whole 2 lessons on that. It's a choice. We have a choice to accept the call. The Most High called each and every one of us to a specific purpose. And we all in this building right now have a gift, a purpose, a calling, whatever you want to call it, whatever title you want to give it, right? And if you sitting back doing nothing, then you're doing us a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing the Most High a disservice if you're sitting back doing nothing, right? John chapter 5, verse 8. Matter of fact, verse 6.
John chapter 5, verse 6. When Yahusha saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, wilt thou be made whole?
So he asked him, do you want to be healed? And his response was,
the impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Yahusha saith unto him, rise, take up thy bed and walk.
So he told him, rise up, get up, take up your bed and walk. And what happened?
And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Shabbat.
So as soon as he told him, get up, take up your bed and walk, it happened. There was no delay, right? Nothing happened in between. It said that, and immediately this man was made whole again. Yeah. John chapter 4, verse 46.
John chapter 4, verse 36.
46.
46. So Yahushua came again into Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he had heard that Yahushua was come out of Judea into Galilee, he went unto him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then said Yahushua unto him, except ye see signs and wonders, ye will not believe. The nobleman said unto him, Sir, come down here, my child died. Yahushua said unto him, Go thy way, thy son liveth. And the man believed the words that Yahushua had spoken unto him.
He did what?
He believed the words that Yahushua had spoken unto him.
And did what?
And he went his way.
And he went his way. So immediately when he saw him, he said that in verse 48, except you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. But the man in verse 50, he says, go your way, and your son lived, and the man believed and believed the words that the Messiah spoke unto him, and he went his own way. Verse 51.
As he was now going down, his servant met him and told him, saying, Your son liveth. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said unto him, Yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in that which Yahushua said unto him, Thy son liveth, and himself believed, and the whole house. And this is again the second miracle that Yahushua did when he was come out of Judea into Galilee.
That's good right there. So when the Messiah told him that your son lived and he believed, what is this?
Faith.
Faith, right? And he just went. He left, right? So he left and went his way when he got home, and indeed his son lived, and he had his fever broken, and he began to be whole again, right? So let's grab Hebrews 11 and verse 1. We can't touch on faith without touching Hebrews 11.
Verse
1.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That's good. Let's grab Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. So that substance, right, means that foundation. Faith is the foundation of things hoped for. So the things that you hope for, faith is the foundation of those things. The fact that you believe that those things are going to happen is the foundation, right? And it says, and it's the evidence of things not seen. The reason that Yah exists is because we believe he exists, right? So our faith is the evidence of his existence, if that makes sense. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5.
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding.
So if you can't physically see something with your eyes, does that mean that it's not there or it's not going to happen? How many people are able to apply this principle with confidence? None of us? Are you able to apply this? So when it says trust in Yah with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, do you go selfing up every situation? Putting yourself in it and messing it all up? Yeah? No? Yes or no?
They just said, but yeah.
So when the scriptures say that all things work together for the good of those that love, right? Loving means if you love them, you'll do what? So that means that everything that's happening around you is working together for your good, does it not? So that means that the only way it can get screwed up is if you screw it up, get out the mix and let the Most High do His thing. And if all things work together, like they have the saying right in the world that things happen what for a reason. Do y'all believe that things happen for a reason? Yeah. If you if you believe that things happen for a reason, right? Do you allow them to happen? Do you? I'm saying, do you just allow things to happen? Like when something happened that's not according to your plan, how do you react? Yeah? But everything happened for a reason. And all things work together for the good. I know, that's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. If all things happen for a reason and all things work together for the good, when things happen that's not according to your plan, why are you messing with it? It's always you that mess it up. If things happen for a reason and all things work together for the good, all things, even if it's something that you can't particularly see at this point, is going to be for your benefit. Why are you messing it up? You got to let it happen. Sometimes you really just got to let things happen. And allow, because if like I said, we all go into situations with a plan, right? You don't necessarily. Do we have goals in here? Did everybody set goals for themselves? So when you set a goal, you usually map out a plan as how you're going to achieve that goal, right? Yeah, is that how y'all do y'all? Okay, so when you map out a plan as far as how achieving this particular goal, and then something happens to where it's a monkey wrench in your plan, right? And your plan is not unfolding the way that you thought it would unfold. Do you go messing it up?
Trying to get back on track. Your track.
Yeah? Or do you just allow things to happen and say, well, things happen for a reason. There's going to be some good to come out of this. I try that so hard. I try to do that so hard that, man, things happen for a reason. And something good is going to come out of this. It's not part of my plan, but I got to start believing that something good is going to come out of this. Like something as simple as like on your way to work and somebody in front of you is holding up traffic. Do you lose it? Like, oh, get out the way. Or do you just like, maybe I'm being slowed down for a reason. And so you just got to work patience. Exactly. Like I start thinking about things like that because I'm always in a rush. And if something happened that is starting to hinder my progress, I feel like I get immediately frustrated. Like, move. But maybe I'm being slowed down for a reason. And I start training my mind to think that way. You know what I mean? Be patient. Yeah, you gotta be patient. And but it takes self-mastery, right? You can't master anything without training. Yeah. So if you want to master yourself, you have to train yourself to think a certain way. Come on in, you're welcome. So you have to train yourself to think a certain way. You feel me? Let's grab 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. Matter of fact, we read that. 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. Matter of fact. Yeah, we grabbed that. 4 and 18. We'll do it just to refresh.
2 Corinthians 4:18.
Yeah, 4 and 18. 4 and 18.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
Okay, so we understand that we focus on those things which are not seen rather than those things which are seen. So what famous verse can we break this whole, then we break that down to 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. Because if we focus on the things which are not seen, rather than the things which are seen, understanding that they're temporal and the things which are not seen are eternal, means that when we move how? By what? And not by read.
2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight.
So when we're talking about faith, right? Grab John chapter 20 and verse 24. What is faith? Do we see faith? No, we can see faith in us, right? But it's not tangible. And faith, by its very definition, is blind. Yeah, because you believe in something that hasn't materialized yet. Your hope is that something is going to happen that has not happened yet. That's faith, right? Verse 24.
John chapter 20 and verse 24. But Thomas, one of the 12 called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came. The other disciples therefore said unto him, We have seen the Master. But he said unto them, Except I shall see his hands, the prints of the nails, and put my fingers into the prints of the nails, and thrust my hands into his side, I will not believe.
So, you telling me that these men or whomever, these disciples, these people who you trusted and walked with and broke bread with every day come and tell you something and you don't believe it. Do you see how deep that is? They walk with this man daily and they like, yo, we seen the Master. Like, what is that to lie about? And he's like, I don't believe it. Until I see it myself, I don't believe y'all.
Yes.
Right. Not just him. Exactly. I got to see the holes in his hand. I got to see everything. Verse 28.
Verse 28. And Thomas answered and said unto him, My Master and my Elohim. Yahushua said unto him, Thomas, because you have seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed.
Increased are they who have not seen, but yet still believe. Romans chapter 10, verse 17.
Romans chapter 10, verse 17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim.
Right? So we understand that faith come by hearing, right? And hearing the word, yeah? Acts 17 and verse 11. When you were first presented this truth, right? Somebody broke this Bible down to you. I'm talking.
They broke the African deception down.
But that was the beginning of your faith journey, right? Because just being honest with you, you haven't hit the pinnacle yet. You still learning. We all are. Yeah, we all still learning. So we haven't hit the apex yet. So we still, on a journey in this faith. Acts 17 and verse 11.
Acts 17, verse 11. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind.
So when they received the word, they received it with all readiness of mind, right? They believed it. Yeah, go ahead.
And searched the scriptures daily.
Weekly?
Daily.
Only on Shabbat?
Daily.
Once a month?
Daily.
Search the scriptures daily. Eat that up right there. Go ahead.
Whether those things were so.
So let's just on a natural level, right? Faith comes by hearing, right? Hearing by the word. So we're talking about faith in the Most High come by hearing, yeah? and hearing by the word. So, do we have people that believe in themselves in here? I know we all believe in the Most High. Do anybody believe in themselves? Yeah. So we talked about goals and setting people that set goals for themselves, right? So when you set a goal for yourself, do you automatically believe that you can accomplish said goal? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that everybody? It's a lot of quiet people in the room. Do anybody believe in themselves in here? Do everybody believe in themselves in here? All right? Okay.
That's pride, so I don't want to do that. Y'all thinking too
No,
deep.
what
He
I'm
talking
saying,
about pride.
I'm talking about self-confidence. That when you set a goal for yourself, you believe that you can accomplish a goal. Yes. No? We got any no's? Okay. All right. So I gotta
So we don't believe what I said it.
right, exactly. So the goals that we set, have anybody ever set a goal to do something that nobody has ever done? Like something that you have not seen nor ever heard of.
Yeah.
Do you? Have you? What?
I ain't never seen nobody go to the kingdom.
You've heard of it.
I
The
have.
kingdom has not come yet, but you've heard it.
I heard.
I'm gonna fast for 41 days.
But I asked that question because when we set goals to attain something that we know has already been accomplished by someone. And we believe that we can accomplish it ourselves based on the fact that somebody else has done it.
The goal, okay, when I was 16, my neighbor, he was an inventor. And he got a few young brothers that took him under his wing. And he asked us what he did was told us to look at certain different types of inventions.
You said inventions.
Ideas, different inventions. And we should position our minds to be able to procreate or do any kind of problem that you want, be able to get yourself out of it. Okay, you try to get yourself out of the problem. So what he did for an example was, he said, well, I'll tell you what, first, you don't have to come up with a whole invention of your own, but can you improve an existing invention?
Mm-hmm.
So he came up with the wire clock, with the pliers. He said the channel locks was the improvement for the pliers. Then the vice grips ended up being the improvement for the channel lock. So that was just an example to condition our minds that we don't necessarily, because some people get overwhelmed, you tell them to come up with an idea that always invent something. So he told us to go ahead and concentrate on existing inventions with how to improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what got me started for us in my field, with by me being a carpenter and a designer, it still relates to coming up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
What you were saying earlier about how they got to hand you that book. In condition, everybody's mind is not conditioned. So
right.
Everybody has that ability to be conditioned, but you're not naturally conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like everybody's not skilled. But the Most High hands down the skills, but it's up to us to sharpen the skills.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And so to even to speak to that point, like that's why I asked everybody, do you have goals? Not do you have personal goals that you want to achieve, you know what I mean, in your life, regardless of how your mind is trained and conditioned. Like, some people think technically, some people are not so technical, you know what I mean? So they don't think on a technical level to where they see shapes and squares and angles and kind of thing, But what I'm getting at is that your faith in the kingdom is the fact that you believe that you can make it to the kingdom, and every day you make that your goal to make it to the kingdom. You know what I mean? So it's goals that we set for ourselves, and then every day we're trying to achieve that goal, like on a natural level. You know what I mean? So that faith comes by hearing. We understand through the scriptures that the end of the road is the kingdom, and this is how you get there. Follow this path. The straight and narrow path is how you get to the kingdom, right? So we understand that. So I'm just trying to get people to relate to that on a natural level. We set goals for ourselves, smaller goals, short-term, long-term goals, right? And our ability to achieve those goals is based solely in the confidence that we have ourselves and the effort that we give every day to try to achieve that goal. That's the point that I'm trying to make. If you have goals in your own life that you want to achieve, I want to be here by the time I turn 25, but to be here by the time I turn 30, by the time I turn 35, you know what I mean? So you set certain goals, short and long-term goals, but what are you doing every day to try to achieve said goal? You follow what I'm saying? So that's the same thing when it comes to the kingdom. If we getting up, our goal might be, I want to purchase a home before I turn 30, right? Our goal may have been for some of us. So every day you get up, you go to work. When you get your check, I ain't going out. I ain't buying nothing. I'm gonna put X amount of dollars to the side so that in so many years or months or whatever, I got my down payment for my house. I'm working on my credit. Like, you are doing things to make sure that once that timeline hit, I got everything in place to buy my home, right? Are we making that same effort to, once it hit, that we're going to walk through the gates of that kingdom? You follow what I'm saying? So it's all based on faith, right? Faith by hearing. We understand this thing based on the scriptures. You follow what I'm saying? So that was the point that I was trying to make. It's all these questions that I ask, for the most part, are rhetorical. Because we got to ask ourselves this every day. The scriptures say that every man examine himself. This is a daily examination. Every single day we got to examine ourselves, and we have to improve on the day prior, understanding that the goal is to make it to the kingdom. Right? And if we're not doing that, then it's time to start doing that. Otherwise, it's just idle. You know what I mean? There's no way that I say I want to purchase a house by the time I turn by the time I come 30, then I don't be showing up to work on time. I could possibly get fired. I only be working 20 hours, and once I pay my bills, I only got $10 left, and I use that $10 to go buy something to treat my vice or whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? Then what am I doing? This is not a realistic goal. I just said something. It's just lip service. That's how we doing the Most High.
That's deep when you put it that way, but we also have to look at just pay attention for us, like what Dr. Lex said, it carry a long way. It's applicable in any given situation.
Say it again.
I said sometimes we can pay attention to some of the quotes Malcolm X said. It can be applied in all situations, in a lot of different situations. And he simply said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today.
Yeah.
And it's basically what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's dealing with the Most High, and dealing with the Most High, and anything. But right now, it's with the Most High. And it's glad that I'm glad that you brought it up, and it can make us learn to think, because life is full of distractions. Being safe system, even when you set goals, you have to leave room for unforeseen occurrences.
Absolutely.
Things happen.
Absolutely.
You have control over, and they can set you back in your goal.
Yeah.
So you have to leave room for that. You can't just set these goals and don't leave room for unforeseen occurrences.
Yeah.
Because they exist.
Things do happen. Things do happen, but the thing that keeps us on track of our goal is our own focus. If you lose focus, that's why it's got to be daily. Because if you lose sight of your goal today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, and then I get back on it on Monday. How many times we done said that? Like, those of us that been trying to, I start back on Monday. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start that on Monday. We do that to ourselves all the time. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get back in the gym. I'm gonna start on Monday.
No, I was supposed to eat this, but just this time.
I'm gonna start over on Monday. Monday, no more carbs. But so the focus, if we don't maintain that focus, that same focus every day, then we're gonna get sidetracked. Then all of a sudden our goal is gonna become something, a memory. Remember when I tried to do such and such and such and such, and it never materialized because we lost focus. So we can't lose focus. Like I say, those things not seen, we look at the things not seen, we focused on the thing that's not seen, which is the kingdom. That's our focus. So every day we got to apply these scriptures so that we're trying to obtain that goal, so that we don't lose focus, that we seek first the kingdom, right? Right? So that after 38 years, we ain't laying there still injured and it's like, do you want to be made whole or not? And we ain't really sure. Like, I want it to be, but ain't nobody there to pull me up and pick up your bed and walk. Right? The Most High done already gave us all the tools that we need. He done already healed us. We the man laying next to the pool. He's already healed us. He asked you, do you want to be healed? But if you're not doing it, if you're not doing the things that he asked you to do, what are you saying? You saying what Moses said, right? You saying what Gideon said. You making excuses to be subpar. And we got to stop doing that. We can't make excuses to be subpar, regardless of what it might be, right? Because we in the same position. The Most High called you just like he called Moses. The Most High called you just like he called Gideon. It might not be for his bigger purpose to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt, but it might be to lead your neighborhood or something, or your household. But in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you have been called by the Father for a purpose. And every day that you delay on that purpose, you're making the same excuse. Well, my tongue, I can't talk. I got a fat tongue, or I'm the lowest. I'm from a bad neighborhood. Stop making excuses. You've been laying there for 38 years. Pick up your bed and walk. You follow what I'm saying? James chapter 2 and verse 17.
That boy bringing fire, y'all hear me?
James chapter 2 and verse 17.
They're giving you a shout out, huh?
I hear y'all out there.
James what?
James 2 and 17.
James 2 and 17. Even so, faith, if it have not works, it is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Shew me thy faith without thy works, and I will shew thee my faith by my works. Thou believest that there is one Elohim, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble.
So the wicked believe that there's one Elohim as well and tremble, right? Go ahead.
But with thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
That faith without works is dead. So all this faith and belief that we saying that we have in the Most High, if we're not working toward the kingdom on an everyday basis, then your faith is null and void. There's no work behind it to quantify your faith, right? Let's grab Mark chapter 1 and verse 31. We're almost done, y'all.
Trying to stretch that. Y'all.
I just jumped over a whole bunch of scriptures out. You know, I have precepts for days.
Take your time.
1 and 31.
Mark chapter 1 and 31. And he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her, and she ministered unto them.
Verse 42.
Verse 42. And as soon as he had spoken, immediately the leprosy departed from him, and he was cleansed.
Mark chapter 5 and verse 25.
Mark chapter 5 and verse 25. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse. when she had heard of Yahusha, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole.
What is that?
Faith.
Go ahead.
And straightway,
And what?
And straightway,
And what?
And straightway, the fountain of her blood was dried up.
What does that mean, straightway? Immediately. So what we just read in Mark 1:31, Mark 1:42, when the word went forth, healing happened how? Immediately, right? Mark 10:52.
Mark chapter 10 and verse 52. And Yahusha said unto him, go thy way, thy faith have made thee whole.
And then what?
And immediately
he
received his sight and followed Yahusha in the way.
So we understand that the healing is already present, regardless of what it is, right? Which means that we can't sit back and wallow in self-pity, in self-hate, in any of these things. The question has been asked, do you want to be made whole? And even before we get to all the excuses and all that, you have to make the decision that yes, I want to be made whole. Yes, I want to be increased. Yes, I want to be the purpose that you called me to be, right? I want that. You know, and so when it happens, it's not a process. Like none of these healings happened, and she said, and he touched her, and the word went forth, and the process began for him to be healed. None of those scriptures said that. They all say, and immediately they were healed. Go, and your faith have made you whole. Pick up your bed and walk. And immediately he picked up his bed and he walked away. The healing is already there. It's already there. All you got to do is it. Regardless of what it is. Everything that the Most High purposed you for is already present. All you have to do is it. It ain't a process. It don't take time. It's not a gradual thing. If you want it, do it. Just plain and simple. You don't gotta wait for no sign, no miracle, just do it. Just do it. He done purposed us all for something. And if we lose sight of what the thing that we're supposed to do on a daily basis, we're gonna wind up lax and we're gonna lose sight and lose our focus that's supposed to be on the kingdom. The kingdom is at hand, right? So we all already have the opportunity. Every day we have to walk toward it and work toward it every single day, regardless of what your purpose, your ministry, whatever that is. Like we all gotta know, and we reach people in a different way. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that's been delivered this truth in real harsh words. There's some people that have received this truth. They came out of the street. Some people came out of the church. Some people came out of the mosque, whatever organization it was. But that just goes to show you that regardless of what, the Most High's word is going to do what it's supposed to do. It ain't, exclusive to one particular person or one particular type of person. It's for all those who believe, right? Okay, I got a couple more scriptures, but I think y'all get the point. Yeah, it would just be redundant. I'm over the floor for questions.
Take your time,
Anybody got any questions?
Keep them holding, don't let me.
I don't want to get long-winded, just repeat myself.
We still got a bunch of seconds.
Yeah, the question, floor already up, it's too late. Oh, go ahead, sister. I can't hear you that good. So we talking about the literal kingdom. At least that's what I'm referring to within this lesson, the literal kingdom. I got you. Revelation. When you got it, just pull it out. You feel good about it.
Revelation 3.
Revelation 3.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 3, verse 12. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of Shamaim from Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. So that's the kingdom coming down.
John 14:1. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in Elohim, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also.
I got let's see. Isaiah 66 and verse 21. No, verse 22. It says, "For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahuwah, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, that all flesh shall come and worship before me, saith Yahuwah." That good? You good? Okay. Anybody else? No? Good. Any questions on that?
Check.
So when people ask like me questions, I should say, I shouldn't answer the questions no more. I should just give them a book.
Give them the book.
Cool.
You go. You show. When you show them in the scripture, right?
Yeah.
So you give them the book.
As far as like Satan goes, and with him bringing out the fact that we're trying to make it to a particular place. We was talking about self-mastery a couple Sabbaths ago, and we're gonna be talking about confidence like a lot next week, because if you can master your inconsistencies, you will be more confident moving forward to accomplish any goal that you set. So like you have that basketball player that know that they train every day and every night. So when they come downtown to play the game, there's no being nervous and scared that they can't accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. They're confident, regardless of what happens. They're confident in their own ability to They're confident in their own ability to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't master your inconsistencies, if you don't master the things that will set you back within yourself, you'll never be confident moving towards anything. You know what I'm saying? So we focus on those inconsistencies within ourselves. We focus on those things that we're not sure about in ourselves. We can confidently move towards the goals that we set. So we'll deal with that a little bit next week.
Yeah, I just want to say, we was going over Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and we was reading all the things that Solomon was exerting himself into. It seemed as though he was putting his all in each of those things. When it came to the cattle, when it came to the madness, he was putting his all in each of those things, and that's what we tend to do. We try to find meaning in everything that we're doing instead of finding meaning in doing righteousness. So that's what.
Go back to Ecclesiastes 2 and get the last verse, last two verses. Just piggybacking off of what you said.
So the last two verses of the chapter.
Yep.
It says, "For who can eat, or who else can hasten there hereunto more than I. For Elohim gives to a man that is good in his sight, wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he gives travail to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before Elohim. This also is vanity and vexation of Ruach.
So we're searching for things that we can accomplish ourselves. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna do this. But the joy comes from what the Most High bestows on you. You know what I'm saying? That's where the joy comes from. That's where the good comes from what Yah give you. You know what I'm saying? So if you seek in the kingdom first, everything that's added to you is going to be fulfilling because it was him first. You know what I'm saying? But if you seek the things first, and now I'm gonna throw the Most High in there, you'll never be fulfilled. Question. I was told by a self-proclaimed high priest that you must be a certain age and have sat under someone for 10 years in order for you to be able to teach. Is that true?
That is in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 666.
Can you repeat that verse?
That is in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 66.
Yep, you answered the question when you said by a self-proclaimed high priest.
It's a joint in Job. I forget how it goes, but it's a joint in Job. It's like have wisdom and understanding come unto you only. Ain't that Job?
So you had me at self-proclaimed. That boy said, fool around me. That was the young dog talking to.
Yeah, I thought it was in Job. It was a joint in Job that like basically talking about the age, like after wisdom only come unto you only or something like that. Ain't that Job? Job.
That was the young cat talking. Let me get it here. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that Job?
Yeah, I just can't remember where it's at.
Yeah, just to give a scripture to what she asking. The whole 10 years. But I do remember when we first started hitting the streets. You remember that? When they were like, who ordained y'all? We like, what? Who ordained y'all to be out here teaching? The Most High. Anything else? All right, let's pray out. Who's that about? Yeah, the sister, she posted it already. Mm-hmm. Sister Pamela, she remoderate.
Big up Pamela Blaylock.
Hold the moderation down. I can't find it. I can't remember where it's at. I'm gonna have to search that job. But it's in Job. Pretty sure. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. I do.
I'll find it.
The lesson
I will find
I just
it.
don't know what to say.
All right, let's pray out, y'all. Just getting impatient.
We got 2 more questions. Hold on.
I'm hungry.
So you want to talk on it?
After this is class gonna be over.
Huh?
After this is hey person. After this I'm going outside. I'm a clown. No, I'm pushing down in that coat.
There's still some more of these prayers up here too, if anybody wants laminated. Nice. Shout out to Monica. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Me.
Father, yeah, we just come before you, Father. One heart, Father, one mind, one body, asking, Father, that you would incline your ears into our prayers, Father. Accept our petition, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would just continue to walk with us, Father. Lead us and guide us unto all righteousness, Father. That you would continue to keep us diligent in our studies, Father. To walk with us and talk with us, Father. To impart wisdom on each and every person, Father. Your word says that if anyone lack wisdom, let him ask of it. Ask for it. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would allow wisdom to proceed forth, Father, and be manifest in our lives, Father. That we would in all things, Father, acknowledge you and lean not into our own understandings, Father. Father, that we would look to be problem solvers instead of problem makers or problem causers, Father. Father, we pray that you would just help us to be just better people, Father. Allow your Ruach, Father, to flow through us, Father. Allow a word of strength and power, Father, to be delivered unto your people, Father. That you would provide an increase, Father. That you would call those people who still be in darkness, Father, into your marvelous light. Father, we pray for any that be sick among us, Father, that you would cause healing to take over right now, Father. That you would allow people to be made whole, Father. That they would acknowledge, Father, that they would like to be made whole, that you would help them to be made whole right now, Father, even as we speak, that healing will proceed forth. We thank you, Father, for the blood that was shed for the remission of our sins, Father, to bring us back into right standing with you, Father, to be reconciled. Father, we thank you, and we pray and we ask that you would just continue to walk with us, Father, down that straight and narrow path, order our steps and be a light unto our path. This in all things we pray and we give thanks. So be it. Avinu Shabbat Shemayim. Ikadosh. Shenka. Tabo. Malchut Ka. Yeaseh. Ratzon Ka. Ba'aretz. Kasher. Nasha. Vashemayim. Tein Lanu. Hayom. Likim. Pikanu. Usla. Lanu. Eight. Ashmatenu. Kasher. Sokin. Anaknu. Ashmu. Lanu. Wa'al. Tabinu. Lede. Masa. Ki. In. Hasalanu. Bin. Hara. Ki. Laka. Amam Laka. Wahayu Bora. Wa'atifare. Lome. Ulami. So be it.
You're my life, you're my source, you're my strength, everything. Call you holy, call you faithful, call you righteous, call you
Well, it's all for healing, right? You're not like conjuring up. But then I think it's good as long as it's for healing purpose. Medicinal purposes, healing purposes. Not harming the body. I can't see what you was saying. Where's the hairy head? Where's the what do you think? Where's the thin line? Give me an example.
Okay. Like the whole thing.